So about a month ago, my basement flooded, and in an absolute panic and desperation, I just started ripping out all of the snap-in flooring, and this is what I was left with right here. Well, it's been a few weeks. I've got most of the stuff back together, and I was getting the flooring done, and I'm patching it in, and I realized how difficult it actually is, and I was learning some things along the way. So I thought, great idea, grab the camera, let's make a video, and let me show you just kind of the things I've learned to make patching these floors a little bit easier. So as you can see, I've got this part basically already done, and then I still need to do all of this. Couple things. First, don't mind the basement mess because, again, my basement flooded. Second, in repairing the floor, I'm talking starting from one wall to the other to repair the floor. I'm not talking a center repair. I don't know how to do that. First things I want to do is now I'm going to remove all of the damaged flooring, the stuff that I damaged when I was just Incredible Hulk ripping everything out. Now, the way that I found the best way to do that is with one of these. You get yourself a 2x4 and sink some 2-inch screws through it. Now, obviously, I have a foam floor underneath. You're not going to want to put this board down and then screw it down because then you're probably going to screw it into your subfloor. Again, I have a foam floor underneath. I'm not laying the underlayment. There's only a few more left, I think, that are damaged that got to get removed, but we'll do that right now. What I'm going to say is anything that looks damaged, remove it because you don't want to neglect removing it and then down the line realize that you should have. Now, because of the fact that we want to work this way, I want those boards over there. I'm going to hit on this edge and move it this way. This is going to essentially ruin this piece on this edge, but all the cutoffs that we need are going to be on that edge. So we'll still be able to probably use some of this piece as long as you come over here. I got the screws down. Hitting this way isn't going to do a whole lot. You want to do this, hold it down, and then hit at an angle coming this way. It's not a quick process, and you can just remove as you go, but I'm at the point where I'm just going to remove everything bad so I can just lay all brand new to begin with. Also, disclaimer, since like I said, it's only been a year, I was able to get the exact same floor that I had before, and the fact that it's in the basement and we don't come down here that often, the floor wear was very little, which was very much in our plus, so it's going to be hard to see where the patch job was. If you're patching a high traffic area, you might be able to see that distortion, the difference in the usage of it, I guess, but let's see what the rest of these. When you're taking the floor out, what you're going to end up with that block, you're going to notice that the screws are going to actually bend in the opposite direction that you're hitting. So I found that one thing you do is when you're hitting it this way, they start to bend, flip it, hit it this way. I went through 2 of these. Depending on how much floor you have to rip out, you might go through more. So make a few of those, keep them handy. Make sure you throw them with the sharp part up like I just did, not smart. Now we can start focusing on relaying the floor. Again, we're basically laying the floor backwards. So luckily, this stride right here, there's nothing really to piece. I just got to start off with a new piece, lay it, and then we're laying it the opposite direction of what you're supposed to do, which isn't really that bad. Alright, so now I got the long way in. I got to do this little seam over here. I got to get that seam to butt up. So all I do, just like I did with the long, I just take a side that's got the right edge on it. And that one is laid, so then I can lay that. And the next one, or I can go and work my way this way. I'm going row by row. And this cutoff is where I was talking, ones that you went through earlier and pounded out. That's why I said you can ruin the one end because that end's probably going to get cut off. So I'm doing is I'm flipping the piece the opposite direction of what it goes, hit against the wall, give yourself about a 1/4 inch mark there. Now we've got this section right here that we're going to fill, and these suck. Just so for time reference of time-wise here, I think I can lay flooring 3 times faster than I can patch it. So it takes quite a while and it's a lot of effort. When you're removing the floor or putting the floor in, it's a slow process, but you don't want to rush it, because if you rush it, you could potentially damage more flooring, which causes a lot more of a headache. I know for a fact. So now what I do is I just snap this one in close I can get to this edge up here, and then we're gonna just do the same. We're gonna pound this in nice and slow until we get all the way up there. It's not fun, but it's how I do it. It's how it can be done. So, as you saw, I'm using a scrap cut-off piece like this to bang against the edge to put it in. One thing is, don't use the same one every single time. Watch and make sure how it gets beat up, because you can see here how beat up that edge is. And if you start really having a real beat up edge that you're beating into your new piece, you can mess up your new piece. And that piece took me 120 something wax to get it in. It was about 3 minutes to get that piece in. And you don't want to do that and then have to pull it back out. And because you are banging the crap out of the edge of that, you're getting stuff everywhere, so make sure that you keep this clean as you're going through. Make sure that you're checking in on your channels, make sure that those are clear out. You just want to make sure that you're spending the time now so you don't have to fight with it later. Another thing is, be prepared for a ton of waste. Because of the fact that you can really only use half of your cutoffs, if you're not able to save them, as I showed you earlier, there's a lot of waste. Because like I said, normally when you're running a floor, you can cut off there and you can use it over there. There is no using it over there. Now, one little trick too to this, when you're starting these, because that last one that I did had such a huge hangover this way, after you get it locked in there, what I do, and I have it just tipped there, is I keep my foot on this, on both of the boards that I'm trying to keep down, therefore they're not sitting crazy, and it'll help them line up a little bit. And then as you're starting, do a few hits to make sure it lines up before you just start ramming it home. The floor, well, the hard part of the flooring is done now. Now it's just like regular laying flooring. So, I think it looks pretty good. I don't think you would know that 6 weeks ago, I was like a man possessed ripping flooring out because it was wet, fearing for mold in my basement. I think it turned out really well. Now again, I got lucky because my floor was less than a year old, so I was able to buy the same flooring, and the flooring wasn't that used, so it blends very nicely. It was a pain, but going through that extra did save me from having to do about 3/4 of the room. It is possible to do. I hope you pick up some good tricks from along the way. If you end up in this situation, I feel for you, because it's a terrible situation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.